The crash in the cage. The night sky over the forest was quiet, until it wasn't. A loud boom tore through the air. Birds flew up in panic. Trees shook as something huge ripped through the clouds and crashed deep into the woods with fire and smoke. Raiden, a human scavenger, was in his small cabin fixing an old engine when he heard it. The sound wasn't from Earth. He dropped his tools and grabbed his flashlight. Something had fallen, and it wasn't just any piece of junk. It was, alien. He ran through the trees, heart racing, branches slapping his arms. When he reached the crash site, smoke covered everything. The smell of burning metal filled the air. A small alien ship, dented and broken, was stuck between trees. Flames licked its side, and strange symbols glowed red on the hull. Raiden stepped, carefully avoiding sparks. His boots crunched glass and metal. Then he heard something, a soft, weak cry. Not a machine, not an animal, a voice. He followed the sound and found a door half melted. He pulled it open with effort. Inside was darkness, and something moving. Then he saw her. A young alien girl, no, a woman, was lying inside a small metal cage. Her skin had a faint shimmer like starlight. Long silver-blue hair fell over her face. She wore strange royal robes, now torn and burned. Her wrists and ankles were chained. She looked at him with wide, glowing eyes. Not in fear, no, in pain. "Help!" "Me," she whispered, her voice shaking. Raiden stared. His breath caught. He had never seen anything like her. He dropped to his knees, beside the cage. "What happened? Are you hurt?" Her lips trembled. They chased me. Shot me down. I don't know if anyone else lived." Raiden reached through the bars and touched her hand. She didn't pull away. Her skin was cold. Too cold. "We need to get you out," he said. He looked around. Tools. Metal chains. He pulled out his small torch and started cutting the lock. Every second felt too long. She winced as sparks flew. Her body was thin, starving, it seemed. How long had she been running? "What's your name?" he asked while working. She didn't answer right away. Then softly, "Thalara." Raiden nodded. "I'm Raiden." Before the lock came loose, a sound made him freeze. A branch snapped. He looked up. In the distance, behind smoke and trees, shadows moved. 1, 2, maybe 3 figures. Not human, and not friendly. He turned back to Thalara. "We have to go. Now." The lock finally broke. He opened the cage and gently pulled her into his arms. She gasped as her foot touched the ground, clearly injured. He didn't care. He lifted her fully, carrying her like she weighed nothing. Raiden ran. Behind him, laser sights lit up the trees. Someone shouted in a deep, guttural voice. Blasters fired. He ducked, sprinting through the forest with Thalara in his arms. The trees blurred. The sound of metal footsteps behind him grew louder. They were coming. He slid down a muddy hill, thorns scratching his legs. He didn't stop. He reached a small cave hidden by thick vines. He pushed through and crouched low inside. Thalara groaned, her hand clutching his jacket. "They want to kill me," she said, breathless. "Why? Who are they?" She didn't answer. Raiden peeked out. The soldiers were close now. Tall, armored with glowing red visors. Alien mercenaries. They searched the area. One of them stepped close to the vines, but didn't look in. After a moment, they moved on. Raiden held his breath until he was sure they were gone. Then he turned to her. "What the hell did I just walk into?" Thalara looked at him with sad, tired eyes. "You just stepped into a war." The forest was quiet again, but Raiden's heart wouldn't stop pounding. Inside the dark cave, he held his breath and listened. Thalara, the alien princess, was resting against the wall, her face pale, her legs shaking with pain. Outside, the wind moved the leaves gently, but Raiden knew the danger wasn't over. The soldiers, whatever they were, had almost found them. Their strange armor, their red glowing eyes, their cold way of moving. It felt like death had passed by just inches away. Raiden leaned close to Thalara. "Can you walk?" She tried. Her leg gave out and she fell against him with a small cry. "No," she whispered. "They shot the ship. It crashed too hard. I think my bone is broken." Raiden looked at her wound. It was swelling fast, turning strange colors. Her skin wasn't like his, lighter, smoother, glowing in places, but pain looked the same on any being. She winced as he touched her ankle. "You're lucky to be alive," he said quietly. She didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on the entrance of the cave. "They'll come back," she said, voice shaking. "They don't give up. Once they mark a target, they hunt until the end." Raiden swallowed. "Why are they after you? You said you're a princess." She nodded. "My family ruled the outer moons. My father refused to join the High Dominion. So, they sent soldiers. My people fought back. Most died. I escaped, but they chased me." Raiden rubbed his face. He wasn't a hero. He fixed machines, traded, scrap, and kept his head down. He didn't fight wars or protect princesses, but now she was here, injured, hunted, alone. And she was his problem. "We need to move," he said. "They'll scan the forest again. This place isn't safe." Thalara looked at him, her lips trembling. "You don't have to help me. You didn't sign up for this." Raiden snorted. Too late for that. He made a sling from his jacket and carried her out into the night. The stars above were half hidden behind clouds. The air was cold, but she felt even colder in his arms. Every now and then she gasped in pain, but she didn't complain. They moved slowly through the trees, avoiding open ground. Raiden knew the land well. A few miles north there was an old mining shaft, abandoned, deep, and hidden. It had saved him before. Maybe it could save them now. Suddenly, a sharp sound cracked through the forest. Ping. Raiden ducked just in time. A glowing red shot burned through a tree beside him. Another one followed. "They found us!" Thalara cried out. He ran, branches tearing at his face, blaster fire ripping past. He slid down a slope, holding her tightly. His arms burned, his legs screamed, but he didn't stop. Behind him, heavy footsteps followed, shouting in a language he didn't understand. Then he saw it. The shaft. Half covered in vines and dirt, its opening was small, just wide enough. Raiden didn't think. He leapt inside, sliding down into darkness. They landed with a thud, dust rising around them. Thalara cried out but stayed silent after. Above, the mercenaries stopped. One of them peeked down the hole. Raiden held her close, hand over her mouth gently. He could hear the alien breathing above them. Then, silence. After a few seconds, the sound of footsteps faded. They were gone. For now. Raiden lay back, breathing hard. Thalara's heart pounded against his chest. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "You should have left me." He looked at her, tired and shaking but still alive. "Yeah, maybe, but I didn't." She stared at him, her glowing eyes soft now. "Why?" Raiden shrugged. "Guess I don't like bullies. And you looked like you needed help." She gave a weak smile. "That's rare in this galaxy." Raiden stood up and searched the shaft. There was old equipment, a blanket, even a broken heater. He dusted it off and wrapped her in it. "You'll be safe here. For now." She looked up at him. "They'll come again. You know that, right?" "I do," he said. "And when they come, they won't just want me. They'll kill anyone who helps me." Raiden didn't answer right away. He sat beside her, staring into the darkness. "I'll deal with that when it happens," he said quietly. Thalara closed her eyes. "You're not like others. Most would have sold me or run. But you didn't." Raiden chuckled. "Well, I never liked being like most people. And in the dark, hunted and hiding, Something strange passed between them. Silent, unspoken, but real. Not just fear, not just survival. A spark, a beginning. The mining shaft was cold and silent. Old dust floated in the air and broken machines lay forgotten in the shadows. Raiden sat with his back against a cracked wall, watching the strange alien girl wrapped in the old blanket. Her silver blue hair glowed faintly in the dark. Her eyes stayed shut, but he could tell she wasn't sleeping. She was listening for the footsteps of the killers who had chased her across the stars. He wanted to speak, ask questions, but part of him was afraid of the answers. Finally, she opened her eyes. "They will search again," Thalara said quietly. "But maybe not tonight." Raiden nodded. "You need rest. That leg won't heal overnight." She looked down at her injured foot and said nothing. Then came a silence between them, tense, heavy, filled with unspoken things. "You said they're after you because of who you are," Raiden said at last. "But I still don't get it. Why would they send hunters across light years for one girl?" Thalara's fingers clutched the blanket tighter. "Because I'm not just a princess, I'm a symbol." Raiden frowned. "Symbol of what?" She hesitated. "My family ruled the moons of Veltharia. We weren't perfect, but we were free. We didn't bow to the High Dominion. We didn't let them control our trade, our people, or our laws. My father refused their demands. He paid with his life. And when I ran, they made sure I couldn't. Stop running." Raiden sat up straighter. "They want you dead just for who you are?" "No," she said, voice shaking. "They want me dead because I give others hope. If people believe I'm alive, and they might fight back. So the Dominion wants to erase me. Erase my name, my face, my bloodline." He stared at her. Not just a girl on the run. Not just a lost royal. She was a threat to an empire. "So they hire mercenaries," he muttered. "To hunt you like an animal." She nodded. "And now you're part of it." Raiden looked away, fingers tapping his knee. "What happens if they catch you?" Thalara didn't answer at first. Then with a quiet voice she said, "They won't kill me right away. They'll make a message out of me. Something painful, something public." Raiden's stomach turned. He looked at her again, this girl who trusted him, who had no one else. He didn't ask to be part of any of this, but now, it didn't matter. He couldn't leave her. "Do you have anyone still loyal to you?" he asked. "Allies?" She nodded slowly. "Some. A few hidden ships, scattered cells. They're waiting for proof that I'm still alive. There's a beacon in my ship, a signal that would reach them, but I didn't have time to activate it before I crashed." Raiden thought back to the broken wreck in the forest. "We can't go back there, not yet." "No," she agreed. "They're watching it. Then we need to wait, heal, and plan. I know this land. If we stay low and smart, we can survive a while." Thalara's eyes met his. "Why are you helping me, Raiden?" He didn't answer immediately. He wasn't sure himself. He had no medals, no training, no big dreams. Just a cabin, some tools, and a quiet life. But here he was, hiding in a cold cave with a hunted alien princess. He finally said, "Because you didn't deserve to die in a cage." She blinked fast and looked down. He added softly, "And I don't leave people behind." For a moment her walls dropped. She looked at him not as a rescuer, but as someone real. Someone who didn't ask for power or reward. Just a human who did the right thing. "Thank you," she whispered. Raiden stood up and checked the small area deeper in the shaft. "There's old gear here, blankets, water tanks, maybe some tools. We can survive a few days." "Raiden," she said suddenly, "if I don't make it, and they find me, you have to promise you won't die for me." He turned to her. "I'm not planning to die." She shook her head. "But if it comes to that, if they catch us, I need you to escape. You're not part of this war." Raiden stepped closer. "I am now." She stared at him speechless, and in the quiet, Raiden did something he rarely did. He smiled. "You're not the only one with secrets, princess. She tilted her head. What do you mean? But he didn't answer. Not yet. There were things, in Raiden's past, buried, forgotten, but useful now. Because he wasn't just a mechanic, and the mercenaries had no idea who they were really chasing. Raiden awoke to a strange hum. At first, he thought it was a machine deep inside the mining shaft, but when he looked up, the cave walls glowed red in a pattern, dots, pulses, and lights forming circles. Then he saw it, a drone floating outside the shaft entrance, spinning slowly in the air like a mechanical eye. It had found them. Raiden grabbed the blaster he had taken from the wreckage and motioned to Thalara to stay down. She was still wrapped in the blanket, her leg too swollen to move. Her eyes widened at the drone's glow. Before he could shoot, the drone spoke. Its voice was not mechanical. It was calm, rich, and disturbingly human. Raiden, core of Earth, it said, using his full name. He froze. You are sheltering a fugitive of the High Dominion. Turn her over and you will be rewarded. Raiden stepped out just enough to face it. How do you know my name? The drone didn't answer the question. You are not part of her war. You are not part of our concern. Deliver her to us, and you'll receive 10,000 solar credits, enough to buy a ship or a new life. Raiden clenched his jaw. And if I don't, the drone's tone changed. Then you die with her, and this rock you live on burns. The drone floated back into the sky, disappearing into the trees, leaving silence behind. Raiden stood there for a moment, heart pounding. Then he turned back inside. Thalara was sitting up now, eyes locked on his face. They offered you a deal, didn't they? He nodded, not bothering to lie. 10,000 credits, a clean exit. She didn't speak. She just looked at him, with a quiet sadness, as if expecting him to say goodbye. I'm not taking it, Raiden said simply. Her lips parted in shock. You're not? He sat down beside her and grabbed a small wrench. You're not a bounty. You're a person, and I don't trade people. A tear rolled down her cheek. She wiped it quickly, as if embarrassed. I've seen so many run, she whispered. Even some who swore loyalty to my family. None of them stayed. Raiden glanced at her. Then maybe it's time you met someone different. Thalara gave him a soft look. Then her gaze dropped to his jacket. Why did the drone call you by your full name? Raiden paused. Because I used to be someone. She tilted her head. Someone? He sighed and leaned back. Years ago, I worked for an Earth-based security force. I was a pilot, a soldier. I saw things, did things I wish I could forget. But one day, I watched innocent people die in a crossfire. I left, walked away from the uniform. I never wanted to be part of another war again. Thalara looked at him with something new. Respect. You're not just a mechanic, she said softly. He shook his head. No. And I never wanted anyone to know that. She placed a hand gently on his arm. Thank you for using your past to protect me. Raiden shrugged. Don't thank me yet. That drone wasn't bluffing. They'll be back. And next time, they'll bring fire. He stood and moved deeper into the shaft, uncovering an old generator and communication panel. I'm going to fix this. We're going to send that beacon to your people. Thalara nodded. Once the signal goes out, it'll light up like a flare. They'll come. Raiden smirked. Let's hope they get here before the Dominion does. Hours passed as Raiden worked. He was quiet, focused, moving with the kind of speed and skill that only came from years of experience. Thalara watched him from her blanket, her chest tightening, with a feeling she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. Hope. That night, the panel came alive. Lights flickered. Static filled the shaft. Then, the royal symbol of Veltharia blinked into life. Raiden looked at her. It's ready, he said. She nodded, then reached over and pressed the final button. The signal launched into space. Far away, someone would see it. But down on Earth, the Dominion's eyes were already turning toward them, and one of their ships had already entered orbit. The sky above Earth darkened, not from clouds but from shadow. A ship hovered just beyond the clouds, silent but deadly. Raiden didn't need sensors to know it was Dominion. The moment Thalara's beacon had lit up, they had come. Now, it was only a matter of time before they found the mining shaft and destroyed everything inside. Inside the shaft, Raiden packed quickly. He grabbed tools, emergency kits, a few old rations, and a datapad. Thalara sat up with effort, her injured leg stiff and swollen, but her eyes sharp. She could feel it too. The air was different, heavy. The storm was coming. "They're close," she whispered. Raiden nodded. "Then, it's now or never." He helped her stand. She winced, but didn't cry out. She leaned on him, her body weak, but her will unshaken. Together, they moved through the shaft toward the back, where a tunnel led to an old vehicle Raiden had hidden years ago. It was dusty, half buried, but he had kept it fueled just in case. "Can it fly?" she asked. "It can run," Raiden replied. "And it can get us to the spaceport. After that, we pray." As they climbed into the old transport, a loud rumble echoed through the earth. A blast shook the forest above them. Trees cracked. The Dominion had fired their first warning. Raiden slammed the ignition. The vehicle roared to life. Metal scraped rock as it shot forward through the underground path, bursting out into open air. The forest was no longer quiet. Fires burned in the distance. Black-armored soldiers moved through the trees like shadows. Thalara gripped the seat as they sped forward, dodging roots and rubble. "They're everywhere," she said. Raiden's eyes narrowed. "Then we don't stop." Behind them, explosions followed. One hit near the back of the vehicle, throwing dirt and fire into the sky. A tree fell, almost crushing them. Raiden swerved hard, sparks flying. At last, the edge of the forest came into view. Beyond it, the city shimmered. And past that, the launch yard. Tall ships stood like towers, waiting to reach the stars. "We're almost there," he said. Suddenly, a Dominion flyer dropped from the sky, blocking the path ahead. Its weapons glowed. Raiden didn't slow down. "Raiden!" Thalara shouted. He slammed a button on the console. 2 side thrusters fired, lifting the transport slightly. He hit the brakes hard and yanked the wheel. The vehicle spun, slid, and shot to the left, crashing through a fence. Blaster fire followed, lighting up the night. Raiden's arm burned. He had been grazed, but he didn't stop. They reached the outskirts of the launch yard. Sirens blared. Security bots were confused, shouting orders. But when they saw the Dominion ship coming, they froze in fear. Raiden drove straight through the gate, toward a small private freighter. It was unlocked. A miracle. Or maybe fate. "Go!" he shouted, helping Thalara inside. He ran to the cockpit, his blood dripping on the controls. He powered the ship, hands flying over buttons. Engines hummed, lights blinked. Another blast hit the ground nearby. The ship rocked. Dominion troops fired from the fence line. "Hang on!" Raiden yelled. The freighter lifted off. Slowly at first, too slowly. Another shot struck the side. Systems flickered. "Come on!" Raiden slammed his fist on the controls. The engines screamed, and the ship tore into the sky. Thalara clung to a chair, her face pale, watching Earth shrink below them. The Dominion ship followed, rising in pursuit. "They're coming after us," she said. Raiden wiped blood from his face. "Let them." In orbit, the Dominion ship gained speed. It locked weapons. Just then, another signal appeared. A fleet. Ships, with the Veltharian crest, sleek, silver, and glowing. The beacon had worked. Thalara's people had come. The lead ship opened fire. The Dominion vessel broke formation, trying to escape, but it was too late. It exploded in a ball of fire. Inside the freighter, Thalara gasped. She looked at Raiden, eyes wide with disbelief. "We made it." Raiden slumped back in his seat. "Barely," the radio crackled. "Princess Thalara, confirm your identity." She stepped forward. Her voice shook, but it was strong. "This is Princess Thalara of House Velthar. I am alive, and I am not alone." The channel went silent. Then cheers erupted from the other ships. Raiden leaned back, breathing hard. Thalara moved to him, gently taking his hand. You saved me, she said. You saved yourself, he replied. She shook her head. No. You gave me a reason to keep fighting. He looked into her glowing eyes. What now? She smiled softly. Now, we go home. Together. The royal ship was quiet as it soared through the stars, far away from Earth's orbit. Everything inside was polished and elegant. Smooth, silver walls, glowing floors, and symbols of the Veltharian royal family carved into every corner. Yet Raiden felt like an outsider the moment he stepped aboard. His boots were scratched, his jacket torn, his arm still bandaged from the blaster wound. He didn't belong here, and everyone knew it. Guards stood tall in shining armor. They didn't speak to him, they didn't need to. Their cold stares said everything. You're not one of us. You're just the human she brought along. Thalara walked beside Raiden, no longer limping, her injured leg now wrapped in golden healing mesh. She wore a flowing blue robe trimmed with silver, her royal crest shining over her chest. But she never left his side. Inside the grand hall, her advisors waited. They bowed when she entered but ignored Raiden completely. One tall alien stepped forward. His long purple robe dragged behind him. His name was Sovek, the head of her council. Princess Thalara, Sovek said calmly, though his eyes narrowed. You are alive, the people rejoice. The stars themselves weep in joy, but we must talk. She nodded. Speak freely. Sovek's gaze drifted to Raiden. This human, he travels with you. Why? Thalara looked at Raiden, then back to why. Sovek. Because he saved my life. More than once. Another counselor stepped forward. But he's not one of us. He has no title, no oath, no bloodline. Why keep him near? Raiden took a step back. It's fine. I don't belong in this world, but Thalara's voice rose. Yes, you do. The room fell silent. Thalara turned to face the entire chamber. When I crashed, when the Dominion came, it was not our own who rescued me, not our soldiers, not our allies. A human did. He risked everything, knowing nothing about me. He could have sold me for credits. He didn't. He stayed. Sovek frowned. Princess, you are heir to Veltharia. You must not let emotion cloud. This isn't emotion, she snapped. It's truth. Raiden felt out of place like a shadow in a palace of stars. He turned to leave. I didn't do this to be part of anything. You don't owe me. But, Thalara grabbed his hand. You gave me more than life, she said softly. You gave me hope when I had none. You made me feel safe, like I mattered. He looked into her eyes. So what now? What are you going to do? Thalara faced the council. I am stepping down. Gasps filled the room. Sovek's face went pale. What? I will not take the throne, she said calmly. My heart does not belong to this crown anymore. It belongs to something greater. You mean him? Another voice whispered. She didn't look away. Yes. Raiden stood frozen. Thalara, you don't have to do this for me. I'm not, she said. I'm doing it for me. The council erupted in chaos. Voices shouted. Rules were quoted. But Thalara didn't flinch. I will not lead a world that judges worth by birth, she said. Not after what I've seen. Not after who saved me. Raiden stepped closer to her. You sure about this? She smiled. I've never been more sure. Later that night, they sat alone in the quiet garden of the ship, watching the stars drift outside the clear dome. You gave up everything, Raiden said. No, she replied. I gave up something, but I gained someone. He looked down. I'm just a guy with grease under his nails. She reached out, brushing his cheek gently. You're the only one who didn't look at me like a prize or a symbol. You just helped. Raiden exhaled slowly. So what happens now? Thalara smiled, her eyes glowing softly under the stars. Now we live, we travel. We help others who feel lost like I did. And maybe we build something new." He grinned. "A royal mechanic and a runaway princess?" "More like a human heart," she said, resting her head on his shoulder. "And the girl who finally learned how to trust it." The stars stretched wide and endless beyond the viewport, glowing like fireflies scattered across a velvet sky. Raiden stood alone in the cockpit of the small freighter Thalara had gifted him. Well, half-gifted. She insisted they share it, just like they now shared everything else. Space, stories, and a future neither of them had ever expected. It had been 6 weeks since they left the royal fleet behind. No more soldiers. No more thrones. No more titles. Just two souls who had survived something impossible. Behind him, soft footsteps echoed on the metal floor. Thalara walked in wearing simple clothes, no robes, no crests, just a loose shirt and comfortable boots, her long silver blue hair tied back. She looked nothing like a princess now, but to Raiden she was still the most striking person he had ever met. "Coordinates are set," she said with a smile. "The orphan colony on Cyros 4 is still waiting for their food shipment." Raiden turned and nodded. "Let's not keep the kids hungry." She came closer, brushing his arm with her fingers. "After that we'll go to Freya Station. That engineer you mentioned, they're still selling used engines, right?" Raiden chuckled. "Yeah, and I still owe them 5 credits. She laughed, a sound that had become his favorite music. There was no ceremony now, no throne room, no more advisors telling her how to behave. Thalara was free. And so was he. Every day, they traveled to forgotten places, helping where they could, fixing things, feeding people, giving warmth where the galaxy had grown cold. But they were also rebuilding themselves. Every night they sat under stars, and she told him about her childhood, how she used to sneak out of the palace to sit by the river. He told her about the ship he'd crashed at 16, and how he once built a flying toaster just to prove a point. The more they talked, the less lonely they felt. But not everyone had forgotten who she was. One morning, a message came through the ship's comms. An old friend of Thalara's, a loyal captain named Viel, had tracked them down. He didn't demand she return. He just asked to speak. They met him on a quiet moon. Viel bowed to her but didn't call her princess. He looked at Raiden with respect, not suspicion. "You've changed, Thalara," the captain said gently. "You seem at peace." "I am," she replied. "I found what I was missing." He nodded. "Your people still sing songs about your return. You gave them hope." "I didn't do it alone," she said, glancing at Raiden. "And I don't want to go back. I want to live the life we're building." Viel nodded again, slower this time. "Then live it. We'll protect your name from the shadows, and when the time comes, if you ever want to return, your place will be waiting." Thalara smiled. "Thank you, but I found my place." As the captain left, Raiden turned to her. "Are you really sure about all of this?" She looked at him. "Raiden, when I was locked in that cage, I thought I would die with no one knowing my name. Then you came, a stranger from a quiet forest, and changed everything. You didn't just save me, you gave me the chance to be someone else, someone free." He didn't reply with words. He just pulled her close and held her, both of them quiet, hearts beating steady. The stars outside didn't care about thrones or crowns, but maybe, just maybe, they cared about love. That night on a peaceful world with 2 moons, Raiden and Thalara stood by a river. There were no witnesses, no crowds, just them, standing in silence. She took his hand. "Do you remember the day I told you I was ready to die?" she whispered. Raiden nodded. She smiled. "Now I finally know what it means to live." He kissed her forehead, and in that moment, neither of them felt lost anymore. Not a princess, not a soldier, just 2 hearts, free in the stars.